Actually, to be perfectly honest with you, I actually enjoyed the way I did my less structured, a little bit more natural, way more casual review of the X360 Spectre so much that I'm going to do this now with the Surface Laptop as well. The fact that I just don't have the time to make the proper one as usual maybe plays a little bit of a role with that as well, but I actually like this more interactive style with you, talking just like I would with a friend, so yeah. Let me know what you think, but otherwise, let's start off with the Surface Laptop. The one thing that I just have to mention is that it's not the lightest one anymore and not the most compact one. Yes, it's thin and it's still compact, but there are quite similar laptops these days, as you can see here with the MateBook X, that are just noticeably smaller. Of course, we have 13.5 inches and only 13 inches on the Huawei, but if we compare this, for example, with the Dell XPS 13, you just see that the competition these days is just more compact, and if you want the most portable one, this is not it. But in terms of build quality, I like it a lot, and last time I said it's magnesium, but it seems to be aluminum after all, but that doesn't change the fact that the build quality is absolutely top notch. I can't really complain. The only thing that you will hear is this that I don't like so much, because they didn't really protect the keyboard caps, so this is what it is. Otherwise, we have a little bit of a harder rubberized feet, but they do protect it a little bit from sliding, and of course we have some vents going on. In terms of ports, we have one USB Type A, this is 3.0, of course, mini display port, headphone jack, this is the antenna. No real cutout, which is a little bit weird because it's a little bit harder to open than some other ones. Then nothing in here, the port for the charging, so no USB Type C or anything like that, so you are definitely very limited in terms of ports. So yeah, not quite so sure if that's the best solution. Now, it can be opened with one hand, as you can see, because the hinge is actually nice and it doesn't really flex so much. But as I said, yeah, it's a little bit harder to open because you don't have much space to hold on to. Otherwise, though, the keyboard, and let's zoom in a little bit, I have to just give it to that. This one is really good if I turn it on, because the travel is really nice. It does bounce a little bit, as you can see. There is a little bit of flex, but what I actually have to go a little bit more into is the Alcantara, because yes, it feels very nice at first, but if you have maybe a little bit dirty hands, or if you eat close to your device and get some crumbs on it, it will get nasty quite easy. So I'm not quite sure how long this will hold up that nice. I really like it so far, but it sometimes also feels a little bit weird. But let's get back to the keyboard, because we have different kind of lighting steps. You don't really see them, of course, now, but we have them. Travel is nice, feedback is really nice, and I definitely like the overall typing experience a lot. It's actually one of the better ones also, as you can hear. Very quiet, super nicely dampened, so the experience is great. All the important extra buttons are there. The layout is top notch. Really like it. Let's zoom out a little bit so I can show you the trackpad once again, because this is a precision trackpad, and it definitely works great in terms of reaction. And so as you can see, scrolling is very natural and everything feels here very nice. The one thing that I have to mention though is that it doesn't feel as quite high quality, because it doesn't feel cheap, or so it definitely feels way better than the MateBook X, but sometimes it just doesn't feel quite as high quality as what we are known from a Surface device, which is in general the thing, because also, yeah, there are things. The bezels aren't, of course, obviously super small, but we have a touchscreen, which I think is almost not necessary. I like touchscreen itself, but we have also stylus pen support, or the Surface Pen support, and I don't really see a big appeal to it if you have to have it in this angle. So you can't set it flat, you don't have a 360 hinge, and that's why I'm just not fully blown away. But otherwise, the keyboard, very good, if not even great. The trackpad, at least I would say, really good. Now, what about the display? 13.5 inches with a little bit of an odd resolution. I can't remember because it doesn't matter, but 3:2, that's the more important part. Now, the quality is 99% of sRGB with 70 of Adobe RGB. The gamma was a little bit off, as you can see here, not perfect. The gray values as well as not, but I have to say, with 350, it's bright enough, no problems here at all. Black level is good, quality is good, so no backlight bleed. Contrast is very good, and out of the box, I just have to say this, which leads me to my kind of more subjective opinion, that I really like the calibration out of the box. It's a little bit what could seem for a few people warm, but it's actually right. Resolution, I have to say, since scaling has actually become better recently with Windows, is absolutely okay. Nice, therefore, very sharp display. The brightness is okay, like I said, as you can see here. This is maximum, but on the video, definitely this doesn't show you the same effect. White, nice. Black, nice. And the colors are so nice. Vibrant, vivid, but still very natural. And we have the touchscreen option. And yeah, I have to say, a lot of kudos to the display. A little bit weird though, I have to say, actually 3x2, because if you have two windows side by sides, it feels actually a little bit cramped. So I actually, for multi-window use, actually prefer 16:9. But if you just use one screen mostly, it's absolutely fine. Now let's go into the speaker, start the track that I have not set. It's here. Yes, I like this one a lot, and contrary to what I said in my first impressions, it's not here where the speaker is because it's kind of underneath the keyboard. I mean, I heard that, but I just didn't know it was the feature, even though I've heard of it. But I have to say, I really like the speaker because the quality is what it's great. Because first of all, it's more than loud enough, actually a really good volume, but it's the sound that sounds so rich, so warm, so full. And this underneath the keyboard, this is super impressive. So this is actually one of my most, if not most favorite, but not the loudest one, but definitely one of my most favorite speakers on a laptop. So I really like that. Now, performance wise, I know I have to just cover one thing that will, it make quite a lot of fuss, because as you can see here, for the 256GB version, only about 650 of read and 230 of write speeds. And I just have to say, this definitely doesn't cut it really anymore. This is not good enough, especially not for the price you pay. It still gets the job done. In a normal use, you won't really notice a difference, but this is not good enough for what you pay for. Cold boot was at about 10 seconds. That is actually quite nice. And we have, of course, the RealSense camera that works really nice, even in lower light situations. And I have to say, scrolling due to the high resolution is not quite as smooth as, for example, on something like a HP Spectre, because it just pushes a high resolution. But this is just a Chrome thing usually. In all other apps, and even here, it's totally fine. And with a trackpad, as you can see here, even more so. So I'm just gonna repeat myself as every time on our Ultrabook. You can do photo editing, that's actually quite good, but for video editing, even though it's possible, I would still recommend quad-core NVIDIA graphics card if you want to do it more frequently. You can do this, especially if you use something like Adobe Premiere. Dual core is okay for actually editing, but the rendering process will be very slow. Now, what about the emissions, the heat and noise? I don't have the demo here right now, just didn't have the time, but I can already tell you that this, I would say 99% of all the time, is pretty much silent. If the room was a little bit warmer, sometimes if you maybe blocked something, the fans, they did turn on, but very subtly, so no real problem. And even on maximum volume, they're very high quality, so not a high-pitched sound, not uneven, very nice, all good. It got, I would say, moderately warm because it's not the smallest one after all, and they made quite some good heat dissipation. So in terms of heat, it's actually fine, and it doesn't throttle or anything like that, which is good. Now, battery. It charges in about 2045. That works already faster these days, but the battery life, I would say, is still definitely absolutely pleasing, because yes, they claim 14 hours, and I get about, let's say, higher 7 numbers to maybe 8 hours. I would say the lowest one was like 6 hours, but on average I would see myself getting between 7 and 8 hours. Once again though, this is with all battery saving technologies turned off, and one even more so because that one was very annoying. Out of the box it comes with dynamic brightness that just shifts all the time, and unfortunately, and this is actually not okay from Microsoft side, there is no option to turn this off. You have to use actually a registry setting to get that done, so just Google for that. Once that was done, then I was happy, because I don't like if someone changes my brightness if I don't want to. But that, like I said, with all those techniques turned off, about 8 hours for me is actually really good. And especially considering that this has a smaller battery than some of the other ones that have bigger ones and get the same battery life. So really good. So let's say average 7, 7.5, up to 8, maybe more. For me, everyone else, expect at least 25% more. That's what I got from my experience. Software-wise, super nice and clean since it's Microsoft. And all they did is really nice. Nothing to further add here. So pros and cons, once again out of my head, not really written down, because I don't really actually need this these days. And I think it looks just way more natural to me. Now, design. Build quality is top besides this thing. But it could be more compact and a little bit lighter after all, because if you consider that the MateBook, which is noticeably smaller and lighter, has pretty much the same battery size and a little bit of a smaller screen, this feels almost dated because it almost feels too big. Port selection is also very limited, a big issue though, in my opinion, actually. The display, let's cover the keyboard. Keyboard, I would say definitely very good, if not great. The keyboard, I would say also at a trackpad, let's say really good. I just don't want to quite give it a very good maybe. Then the display, super nice, really, really great. Speaker also very, very good. I like that. Performance still absolutely top in all daily situations. Same goes for heat and noise. Battery life is also very good. So as you can see, it's definitely very good. But that leads me to my ending. I don't really have much to complain about. No, like I said, the size and so on, all of that is fine. But it is the price, 1,450 euros, at least here in Germany, for this configuration with 8 gigs, 256 gigs. Not even with the pen and so on. It's not the best price because you can get more portable devices. You can get even better displays, like for example on the MateBook. But like I said, the rest is great. But 450 for just something not really special, because usually Microsoft is known to make kind of category defining devices. This is not it. This is just a laptop, and this is what you should see. And this is no problem for me. But yeah, and you will see this in my comparison. For 1,400 euros, you have definitely a lot of, at least on the same level, qualities alternatives there. So you should definitely check them out. I can recommend it, but it's not amazing in terms of price. It's not really super outstanding in its qualities, especially since we have a lot of high quality laptop these days. And I'm kind of not really sure what else I should say. So if you have some questions, leave them down there below. And yeah, like I said, I still like it a lot, don't get me wrong, because I was very enthusiastic in my first impressions video, which I still am, and I would enjoy to have this one. But seeing the competition, it feels a little bit like they kind of lost the curve, because let's just get the things out there that a lot of people will complain about. The SSD speeds aren't great, the port selection is crippled, and it's design-wise nothing extraordinary anymore. This is it. Okay, I hope you like this a little bit more casual, a little bit less structured, a little bit less planned videos, because I just feel they're way more natural, at least to me. But that's it. Until next time. Bye.